Akaui ka puane ane, a laila lave a kuoia ui ke aloha ke ae, e ola.
Aloha nui kākou. My name is Aaron Salah, part of the organizing committee for WiPC. I have the esteemed honor of introducing our keynote speaker for this afternoon. 2 years ago, at the Nahoku Hanohano Awards, which is like the Hawaiian Grammy, I had the honor of introducing him then. At that time, he was just coming to a post at the Office of Hawaiian Affairs. In the Western world, we know this post as CEO, Chief Executive Officer. We know this post as President. One of the first things that this gentleman did was to rename and reclaim that post from a Hawaiian sense of worldview. That post is now called Kapohana. Kapohana is the support for the ridgepole of the Hawaiian Hale, the Hawaiian house. And upon him we stand. He is arguably one of the most important Hawaiians alive today, steering our canoe, leading us into the new chapter of Hawaiian lives, teaching us and reminding us that we are in charge of our own destinies. Very recently, he took a great stand. As we move forward as Hawaiians looking for a path to self-determination, Kamanaʻopono Crabbe wrote a letter to the United States. His letter to the State Department asked very simple questions. Did you overthrow us? And if you did, are you going to account for those actions? And if you did, then what is the role of the Office of Hawaiian Affairs in the reclaiming of our identity as a Hawaiian nation? What is so special about Kamanaʻopono Crabbe is that he is educated in the Hawaiian world and the Western world. He can hume malo and get in the lo'ikalo. And he has a PhD in psychology. He speaks Hawaiian. He speaks every language that Pidgin, the people that created Pidgin in Hawaii, came together to create. He speaks to every person on their level. He was a part of an Indigenous Education Leaders Forum on Tuesday. This is something that the Native Hawaiian Education Association is wanting to build as we come out of WiPC 2014, to come together with Indigenous leaders in education, to build collaborations and build partnerships, so that moving forward, we don't live in isolation from each other, but we live together in one world. Reminding each other that we are not alone, that we stand together. Without further ado, ladies and gentlemen, a very important keynote for all of you gathered here at WiPC 2014. The Kapohana of the Office of Hawaiian Affairs. Please welcome to the podium, Dr. Kamanaʻopono Crabbe. Ikia kau kini helawai amanu he upena tu itanoe ko popo e tahia. Ua o punia ela I tau ka ki ke pa ke nai lai lona o tau ana. Tau ahi noe ki ka peku hei ai kai amanu o puo ali. O te ali vale no ka umake make. O ka luhi o mao mai ane. O ka maa kou lea lea noi. i ke Dr. Kamanaʻopono Crabbe.
Wilina mai ke aloha ko yaka kua pau e na hoa maka maka. Aloha. E o e na la hui like ole o ke au malama no ke ia la. Ia o ko e na kupa. Makamuano o Kanaloa, ahiki ka aina mamau o Amerika o Europe. Ke aloha no. My sincere greetings to each and every one of you who have come from near and afar from throughout the world. From the oceans that separate us and the continents afar. Aloha and welcome to Hawaii. There are 14 countries here. I want to acknowledge your presence and your participation in this year's 2014 World Indigenous Peoples Conference. Auheia oko e nā tangata, mai Aotearoa mai e yo. Auheia oko e ka poe ilikini, mai Canada mai e yo. Oh, nalo vale paha. Waha lele. Na. Ina kupa o Japana o ka poe ainu. Ainu. Ina ka poe ta whale ali o Mali e toa o American Samoa, Samoa. Eo. Maluna o te ao o ka aina hui, ka aina anu o na Sami. Eo. I cannot remember the others, but most importantly, just say eo for whatever country you from. Eo. Ka mea nui, ia o ko, i ku hoa, i nā kama, i nā uiwi, i nā kupa, mai yuka, ai kai. Ka puka ana kala i kumakahi ahiki ka velo ana kala i le hua. I kala hui, i ko Hawaii pai aina. Eyo! Aloha. I ka wā mamua, ai I ke I o a, I ka wā mahope. Looking to the past of our ancestors brings clarity to our world today. For if we are to move forward, we must look forward to the future of tomorrow. It becomes the foundation for this year's theme, E Mawana ka Mo'olelo. Our stories continue and endure. But understanding our past to thrive for tomorrow is crucial. Nakakoa pau e hawamo ke ia kaumaha. We have all endured the struggle of indigenous and aboriginal peoples throughout the world, of alienation in our own homeland, suppression of our mother tongue, destitute in poverty, homelessness, substance abuse, violence, years of cultural and historical trauma. That is who we were. That does not define who we are. Yet, despite these struggles, we are here today. We are the survivors of our descendants and our forefathers before us. And we should all celebrate that because we are living. We are the manifestation of their legacy today, and that is our burden to carry it into the future for tomorrow. That is our responsibility. A Maori proverb reminds me, "Te wātea I te ware, te ātea I te rangatira." It is ignorance who is the oppressor. It is vigilance who is the liberator. And that vigilance is education. Oia ka ike kuuna. Oia ka mea ka ike I ka mea ho'omalama ya ka kua pau. It is that traditional knowledge that burns within us and is the light and the beacon that sets the path before us. No laila, we can never forget that past, but also we have to be vigilant on reconnecting with that source of strength, that Maori, that mana, whatever you call it, that is our source of strength, our kupuna and our ancestors. It becomes the two most fundamental things for the existence of life for all of us. Ka mea oia i'o, a ka mea ka pahu hopu, ka mea nui no ke ola. It is something to believe in and the purpose for living. And the struggles in our history which we have in common is that belief. Our purpose now we set for ourselves rather than being guinea pigs for studies, rather than being pagans who are not part of mainstream society. We now become agents of change in our own destiny. We empower ourselves. And this conference gives us the mana and the strength to ho'i kaika, to do that, to empower ourselves and each other. Let us challenge ourselves to act with urgency, yet to be humble in our delivery and respectful in what we say. A unique element which we all share to our cultural past here is the recognition that education is not just about reading, math, and science. It is about our spiritual well-being. It is about our cultural dignity. It is about our social cohesion within our communities. That is what we are here about. Indigenous education. We are an emerging movement that has great potential to impact the status quo to greater heights for advancing our agenda for Indigenous education, for policies that advocate for financial equity for facilities, for policies that actually support professional development of Indigenous teachers to teach Indigenous curriculum, for policies that support the integration of Indigenous language in mainstream education, and the ability to incorporate our spiritual, traditional customs, practices, and beliefs as part of not just education, but the knowledge of who we are as a holistic people. Years ago, this conference, while in Australia, became a launching point for the genesis of the Coolangatta Statement, which preserves and perpetuates our indigenous education, culture, spiritual connections to our ancestors, to our aina, to the land, to the animals, to the sea life, to the rivers, and to our heritage. Essential to our movement is the principles that indigenous people have the inalienable right to be indigenous, which includes the right to self-determination. Empowerment is when we acknowledge the value of our mother tongue, our traditional cultural beliefs, practices that come with our ceremonies and rituals. What does this mean? This means that we all, as indigenous people throughout the world, we no longer have to ask for permission. Yet we have to advocate for the opportunity and the access to actually live it. We no longer are the deficit model. We are the resilient people who carve out our own future destiny. This morning, I had the great honor of meeting many leaders that represent different countries on indigenous education. One of my colleagues, Mr. Mark Rose from Australia, one of the Aboriginal leaders of his community, spoke. WiPC, especially here in Hawaii, is a very sweet place. It is time for us to be a majority than a minority. Yes, we have similarities, and yes, we have differences, but creative tension, despite those differences, we act in peace. We create an environment where our minds are stretched and our spirits stirred. It's about recharging our batteries. As a result of reinvigorating our spirit, we are able to go back to continue the fight for our people and for the mobility for us to thrive in our own homeland. This sweet place where we can trust each other, share openly, and feel safe without guards, without bureaucrats, among ourselves. He kanaka a he kanaka, he alo a he alo. He lahui a I lahui. Amongst people, face to face, nation to nation of indigenous people. This place is a pu'uhonua, a place of refuge for us to share our experience, strengthen hope with each other. For the message for you to go back to your community, your whanau, your ohana, your family, to carry on the legacy in which we set forth these past couple of days and in the next couple of days. Our indigenous leaders spoke this morning as peers to recognize and honor that there is an ethos and spirit about WiPC where we don't have to translate everything into Western constructs. For we leave those barriers behind and have the opportunity to just be he kanaka, just to be indigenous. You know, Polynesians, we love to, we love to talk a lot. We love to eat. We love to sing and entertain. But what's most profound also is the sharing of wisdom. The Director of Education of American Samoa, Salu, shared with us this morning the significant olelo no ia, or proverb from Samoa. E lua sua se lolo I se popo e tasi. You cannot produce sweet, rich coconut oil with only one coconut. No laila. We are all coconuts. We are all coconuts. Together, the oil is sweet and rich for all of our people when we all contribute. When we all contribute our energy, our knowledge, our wisdom to the collective. And because so, we connect with each other in following another proverb. Ele sua se lolo I se popo e tasi. Oh, we shared that one already. Ia so'o le fau, I le fau. Holomua. She shared about how the women in her village would have to collect hala. It is a tree, and the bark or the leaves of that tree are used to shape in mats, which is highly valuable in their culture, as well as other Pacific Island people. But because the hala trees are so far, and the hala trees, the leaves have thorns on them, it causes abrasions on the skin, and the bundles of hala are not held together. So the women look for a hau tree, the bark of the hau tree, to rebind those bundles. And they are able to bundle them together, that are brought back to the village. It reminds us it is the how, it is that bond which binds us in common purpose, in common vision, and a common path. Let us all remind us that we are the how as we go back and connect with our community and our people. Therefore, connectivity provides strength. Connectivity heals the broken spirit. Connectivity empowers us to aspire to the greatest heights and potential our kupuna expect of us. When you and I return, and it is our time for the Creator to call upon us, when we meet the ancestors in that place of the afterworld, and the spirits who stand at the gates to greet us, they will ask, Pehea kauhana I te ao ola? How was your work in the living? What have we done to make our place, our world, our environment, our people a greater world? And I say to you, my brothers and sisters, I kela kau maha e awamo, yakakua pau, it is that burden, it's that obligation, it's that responsibility we bear on all of our shoulders to move forward, to perpetuate, to preserve, and to protect all of those traditions and the customs, practices, and beliefs that have come before us. That is what we bring into the classroom. That is what shapes the movement of who we are as people. And let us not forget that. There is much we have to do. In closing, what I want to share there is much planning for future of tomorrow. Let the inspiration you have received here and the story that you carry here, may you share it with your family, your teacher, your colleague, your politicians, your community leaders. Share it with them. Share it with them. Because together, we are only as powerful and strong as we are together. We are vulnerable by ourselves, and when we stand alone. But we are most formidable as we stand collective. Let us stand united and formidable. And when those who stand on the outliers, let us reach out to them and bring them into the circle. For we can no longer tolerate oppression. We must unshackle those chains for us to seek not just indigenous education, but the right to self-governance, self-determination, and freedom for our people. Let us stand collective, united, and formidable. With that, I want to thank each and every one of you, for you not only have contributed to the baskets of knowledge, but to the beacon of enlightenment. For in another several years, we shall meet again in Canada. No laila mahalo nui aku yaka koa pau. No ko hele ana mai I Hawaii. Thank each and every one of you for coming to Hawaii for another World Indigenous Peoples Conference. And let the light shed on. And let us carry on the legacy for another several years. Again, till we meet in the North Americas. Aloha.
One more round of applause, please, for Dr. Kamanaʻopono Crabbe.